Hello, everybody. See, our numbers are going to keep bumping up for a little while, but we just wanted to get started tonight. This is our final presentation of the evening. It's our Understanding Cook County Property Tax Appeals Workshop. It's the first time we've done this one. We had our highest number ever of people watching our last presentation that Teresa Chandler gave with our Cook County Assessor, Fritz Kagi. That was all about property tax exemptions. So you guys obviously want to know more about property taxes. So we decided to do the second one, and Teresa was kind enough to do it with us. Tonight, we also, because so many people signed up for it, the Cook County Assessor Department was kind enough to have Michelle Rodani, Kelvin Harris, and Scott Smith also join us tonight. They are not going to be talking and presenting, but they're going to be answering your questions in the Q&A box while we go tonight. So thank you guys so much for doing that. It's a huge help. Our chat is disabled, so you know. So any questions you have, you can see Angela typed in just a little something into the Q&A box so you can see where to type any of your questions in. And again, we're going to be answering those as we go tonight. If there are additional questions at the end, then Teresa can also try and answer those questions. Just a reminder to, you know, we can't answer a lot of questions if they're really specific about your home without knowing what your home is and all these details. So just keep that in mind. You know, those kinds of questions you're going to have to sort of deal with after the fact and have more information and talk to the assessor's office about. But we can get through a ton of stuff tonight. Really excited to be doing this again. Let's see. Again, our chat is disabled. We've got Q&A. Trying to think of what else I might be missing before we get started and I introduce Teresa. One plug I just wanted to make for the Chicago Bungalow Association is we are having our bungalow garden contest. That's coming up. Super popular, super fun, all kinds of prizes around it too. Go to chicagobungalow.org to sign up. Something we're doing that's different this year too is we're actually going to have, it's not just Chicago style bungalows, so not just brick bungalows, but any kinds of bungalows. So frame bungalows and stucco bungalows, like those are also totally acceptable. We just wanted to kind of bump out a little bit and get more of you involved because so many people have asked us about that in the past. So we're like, you know what, this is the year. It's a new day. So all bungalows are able to submit this year. The deadline is July 6th. So again, just go to our website for that. And I believe that was all I had to talk about before we introduced Teresa officially. Teresa, and also I'm going to turn my camera off just so you guys know during this, but I will also be in the background. Teresa, whenever you want to turn your camera on, feel free. Hi. Oh, you disappeared again. There you are. Okay. Just want to see you as I introduce you. It feels okay. Great to do that. So Teresa has worked at the Cook County Assessor's Office for 22 years. She currently serves as Community Outreach Strategist in the Communications Department. She's responsible for educating Cook County taxpayers at the local level by facilitating assessment seminars and providing answers to questions related to property valuations, assessment appeals, and exemptions. As I mentioned before, she did our last talk as well, which was hugely successful. And also, just one more thing, she was kind enough also to offer to answer questions that maybe we couldn't get to tonight or that were a little more complicated through email, right? You wanted to do that through email, is that correct?
Exactly. So if you would just take the questions down, you write them down and just send them to me in just one email, and then I'll just answer them.
We'll send those to you.
For sure.
So whatever we get to in the Q&A tonight, everybody who's out there, you know, Angela and I are going to put together a list of questions and we'll send over to the Cook County Assessor's Office, and you guys will hear back probably sometime next week at some point.
Yes, definitely.
Great. Well, without further ado, I think we can turn this over to you, Teresa, if you just want to share your screen, and I will go dark, but I will be here.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Carla.
My pleasure.
Okay, here we go. And can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, well, thank you. So, well, good evening, everyone. And thank you all for being here tonight. You made me sound so important with the bio when you read it. So I'm gonna act as though I'm so important because you guys are important to me. And so I just want to say thank you as well. the Cook County Assessor, Fritz Kagi, he thanks you. I want to thank Angela and Carla for allowing us, and of course, the Chicago Bungalow Association for allowing us to be here tonight and to spend time with us. You could have been anyplace else, but you've chosen to be with us, and we appreciate it. With me tonight, as Carla stated, is my team. I have a wonderful team. We support each other. So therefore, if you have questions as I go along in my presentation, please drop them in the chat box. Specific questions, Carla will send me an email and I will forward the answers back to her sometime next week. So without further ado, let's get started, because I know many of you are just coming home from work and you probably want to get your meal started, okay? But as I said, thanks again, and the Assessor Fritz Kagi, he thanks you as well. So let's get started here. Hold on a second. Going to get this going here a little bit. 1 second here. I'm looking. I cannot. Okay. Little technical problem, but anyway, let's get started. So our office, the Cook County Assessor's Office, we are open to the public, okay? We opened June 14th to the public. And so what does that mean? That means that you can get an appointment to see someone in our office. We continuing to provide many of our services during the whole pandemic of the shutting down. We were still operating, we were still in service. Our office may have been closed, but we never stopped serving you, the public, with many of our services online and through Zoom, through Instagram. We're hosting outreaches through these various techniques. And also by phone, our database, we were taking emails, and also we were taking calls. So we never stopped working. We never stopped serving you, the public. As I stated, you can make an appointment to our office, but why make an appointment to come down? Because our services are still online and we're still answering many of your questions through email or by phone. Also, I want to say that the office is public. Of course, we require that you wear a mask and you practice social distancing. And there's a little health screening to ask you a few questions. Also, we have a Markham office. Markham office is also open, but an appointments are necessary for all of our branch office. Our office is closed because it's under construction at this present time. Again, just feel free to to process all of your matters online. Many of our services are online. Now, what are the responsibilities of the Cook County Assessor's Office? Okay, the responsibilities of the Cook County Assessor's Office is to set fair and accurate values on 1.9 million homes across Cook County. Now, this is not done on an individual basis, but rather a mass appraisal systems so that we can put fairness into the property tax assessment process. Our office is transparent. And so that we assess all properties through fairness, okay? And this is allow us as appraisal system, and not an individual. So we just don't look at one property and compare it to another property, but on the mass appraisal system. In addition to what we do with assessments and providing assessments to your home, we actually add what we call exemptions to your home if you qualify for property tax exemptions. And these exemptions help to lower your property tax bills. So my screen is freezing a little bit, but just be patient a little bit here. 1 second. So what are exemptions? Exemptions helps to lower your property tax bill. It reduces your equalized assessed value. As a reminder, all exemptions appear on your second installment bill, all exemptions. And as I stated, our office is open to the public. You can find many of your homeowners unanswered frequently asked questions on our website. Businesses and not-for-profits, organizations find services for their resource tools on our website. We ask that you use our website and you conduct many of your service online. All right. And I'm going to speak more about exemptions in my next slide. Now, what are exemptions and the type of exemptions we have? The first exemption is a homeowner's exemption. All right. If you lived in your house as of January the 1st of the prior year, you are eligible to receive the homeowner's exemption. Or if you purchased a home from someone who previously had homeowner's exemption, you are entitled to receive it. So it's like an inheritance. If I purchased a home from someone who had the homeowner's exemption, I would inherit that exemption if I purchased that home from that individual, okay? And that's what the homeowner's exemption, it provides a great savings to you, all right? And to help you reduce your property tax bill. Now, we also have what we call the senior exemption. The senior exemption, you must be 65 years old, born 1955 or prior. And that's it. 65 years old and born 1955 or prior. And of course, you live in your house, and it must be your principal place of residence. With all of our exemptions, it must be your principal place of residence in order to receive these exemptions, okay? So you can be eligible for 2 exemptions, but we have 8 great savings that can save you on your property tax bills that our office offers to you. And you can qualify up to 4 at a time, all right? So let me continue. We also have what we call the senior freeze exemption. Now, if you qualify for the senior exemption and you're 65 years old and you lived in your house as of last year, January the 1st, and your household income is less than $65,000, you can qualify for the senior freeze exemption. And that's gross income. So that's everyone in the house. That's combined income, not just one person individual, combined $65,000 or less. You can receive the senior freeze exemption. So I may be eligible for the homeowners, the senior, and the freeze exemption all at one time. So those savings. The senior freeze is a phenomenal savings. I can't wait myself to become 65 to receive. It's not long that I won't be 65, but I'm waiting for my turn. So if you know a senior who is 65 years old, ask them, find out, hey, have you applied for your senior exemption? The Cook County Assessor's Office, they have some great things going on. And we want to help you help others, and that's what we're here for. Now, we also have what we call the Persons of Disability exemption. Now, this exemption, if you receive Social Security disability, or if your physician deems you to be disabled, we have a form on our website. It's called the P-Tax 343, P-T-A-X 343. You have your physician fills it out. And remember, all of this can be processed online. You don't have to make an appointment or an office. We're here to serve you. We're here to make it so convenient that you don't have to leave out of your home, just in your pajamas or on your cell phone or on your iPad. We want you to file for your exemptions, or your parents. Tell your neighbors and tell their friends to check for their exemptions, okay? So the Persons with Disability exemption, you can receive if your physician files for you, fill out your form, the P-Tax 343, and you fill out the applications for the Persons with Disability exemption, okay? And we will apply that exemption. So hypothetically, you could possibly have the homeowners, the senior exemption, the senior freeze exemption, and the Persons with Disability exemption all on your second installment tax bills. Because remember, all exemptions appear on your second installment bill. Sometimes we receive questions and says, hey, I didn't receive my exemption. Well, you're looking at your first bill. That's the blue bill that the Cook County Treasurer mails out. No, look at your second installment bill in the left-hand corner. And I'm going to show you exactly where to look so you don't have to worry. Remember, I said This is what we do. We are here to help. And we want you to take notes because we want you to help others help themselves. All right. Now, in addition, we have what we call the returning veterans exemption. This returning veterans exemption is another exemption that we offer in our office. And that's returning from active war, not like World War II, because my dad was in that World War II. Yeah, my World War II, yeah. So you know how old I am. Yeah, okay, fine. But yes, my dad was in World War II. We're not talking about active war, all right? So if you're eligible, if you think that you may be eligible from active war, recent war, then you can apply for the returning veteran exemption. And also we have what we call the veteran with disability exemption. Now, this exemption is a great exemption. Why? Because you must have a service-connected disability. That means that you were injured in the war, right? Not that it's great because of that, but it's so many benefits. Love our veterans, and I want to say I commend them for the work that they've, how far we've come, because provides great savings for them. And if you are service connected, have been injured in the war and it's service connected, you can apply for this exemption, okay? Not that if you're a veteran and you were injured outside shoveling that snow that we had this past winter, no, injured actually in the war. And if your percentage is 70% or greater, you exempted from property taxes totally, if you can prove it, through the VA administration, and your doctor will give you a letter stating your percentage. And all you have to do is present it online. Now, it's free to file. You don't need anyone to help you. We have showing how to file for the exemptions, and all of our services are, many of them are online, okay? So if you believe that you're eligible, just, hey, shoot us an email, give us a call. We're here to help, all right? Now, what we call the long time exemption. The long homeowner exemption, there's 3 requirements. Now, we get tons of questions like people stating, oh, I'm a long time homeowner. I've been in my house for 20 years, but it's only 3 requirements, okay? And actually, less than 2% actually qualifies for this exemption. We've mailed out letters to individuals who we have found that qualifies, okay? Who we know that qualify. Now, for error, well, slightly. But if you believe that you qualify, after I give you all the qualifications, you can call our office, okay? And we can check for you. I can't check here tonight. As Carla stated, there's only so much I can do. I'm here with my home, as I stated, like you are in your home. So I can't look up your individual properties right now. But let me just give you the requirements. Number 1 for the long time exemption is that you must have lived in your house over 10 years. That would be me. Is that you? Okay, all right. Now, your household income must be less than $100,000, right? That's gross income, all right? And someone will say, yeah, that would be me. Yeah, okay. Add me to that as well. But there's a 3rd requirement, and that's your equalized assessed value must have been going up and rising over the course of the many years. Now, I could look up your property if we wasn't on this Zoom call to see if you actually qualify, or you can email us when we're off this call, and we'll answer your emails by sometime next week, because we're off tomorrow, we're closed. But if you think you have the 3 qualifications, then we can check for you. But as I stated, our office, we have mailed out the letters to individuals that we have already found who qualifies for the exemption. Now, how do we know? It's not based on your income, but your equalized assessed value. We sent those letters out, and then they'll tell us if they if they're eligible for the exemption. Okay, less than 2%. So remember that. All right. And the home improvement exemption is, well, what happens is this. Once you pull your permit, you're making a home improvement. Say that you're adding a dormer to your house, or you're adding another room because your Packers fans are coming over. I'm a Packers fan, okay. Well, all right, okay. I know there's a lot of Bears fans out there, so don't I just, but I'm just saying. So you added an extra room downstairs for all of your football fans and everything, and you added a lot of square footage, or you added an extra dormer, ladies, for your shoes and your clothes, because many of us, we love to keep shopping all the time, and guys do too. So, and it added a lot of additional square foot, and the developer pulled a permit. Once the permit is pulled, our office gets notified. We send an inspector out, and then we will send you a notice. You don't have to do anything. We will send you a notice letting you know if you qualify for that home improvement. Okay? Next. So, this is the second installment bill. For you new homeowners, this is the second installment bill. Your first installment bill is usually blue, and it has been for some time. We're not responsible to mailing out the tax bills. The Cook County Treasurer's Office is, but we do place our savings on this tax bills, and so that we want you to see it. The reason why I displaying this tax bill is because, as you can see, it's on my right. It says in the tax calculator, which will be in your lower left-hand corner on your tax bill, it shows the various exemptions that you apply for, all right? It will show your homeowner's exemption and your senior exemption and your senior freeze exemption. And I want to just give you some information because, as I stated, our office is transparent. We have nothing to hide, and many of our services are free. And to apply for exemptions, it's free, all right? But let me just explain, because we do get questions on how to calculate my homeowner's exemption. Now, simply take 10,000, 10,000 times your tax rate, all right? And in this case, the tax rate is 9.108, I believe, or 5.337. Whatever your tax rate is, you multiply your tax rate times 10,000, and that's your homeowner savings, okay? Why am I telling you this? Because, as I stated, we're transparent, all right? We have nothing to hide. And we want you to be able to figure out what homeowners should be. So how do you figure out your senior exemption? You take 8,000 times your tax rate, right? And that's your senior savings. Senior freeze and other exemptions, so complicated, all right? With the senior freeze and the disabled persons and things of that nature, okay? All right, it says my internet is being a little unstable, so I hope you guys can still hear me.
We can hear you, Teresa, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. All right, so, and I want to say, I'm just going to go back a little bit. There's two exemptions that you cannot combine. You cannot your senior freeze exemption and your long time exemption. If your freeze exemption, we the long time exemption. Why? Because it was a greater benefit for you, and because they're both income based. All right. So if you apply for the senior freeze and we give you the long time exemption, it was a greater benefit. Or if you apply for the long time exemption and we give you the senior freeze, it's because to save you money. We're here to help you save money. All right. So I'm going to continue. As I stated, there's a little lag in my system, and sometimes that happens, you know, but I'm gonna continue. So this is called your automatic renewal. Now I want you guys to write down this website. It's called the Cook County PropertyInfo.com website. Why? Because it has a wealth of information. It's all the county agencies combined with all of their information, and most importantly, our information from the Cook County Assessor's Office. It allows you to see which exemptions you actually applied for last year. We renewed all of the exemptions this year because of the COVID. Many of the exemptions got renewed, and you didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to come out of the comfort of your home. We automatically renew the homeowners, the senior freeze, disabled persons, we automatically renewed the veteran with disabilities exemption. You didn't have to do anything. Just stay home. We did this on our own because we are here to help you. All right. And I'm going to show you on the next slide how this is a benefit for you. Now, as you can see here, this is the Cook County Property Info website. I call it Cook County Portal. All right. Many of us call it Cook County Portable. And as you can see in this red circle there, it shows you your prior exemptions. And it also has your tax bill history amount, your appeal, if you filed an appeal with our office, and all the information that the Cook County government has to offer you. But most importantly, the Cook County Assessor's information is definitely there because we're transparent, okay? So the deadline was April 9th, and currently you can file a certificate of error. And I'm gonna explain that to you well. Now, what does us, if you're missing your exemptions, just say, Carla, you failed to apply for your homeowners. And I'm not going to say you're a senior, but I'm going to say your husband or your significant other is a senior. And you guys just failed to apply for your exemptions. Don't worry, you can apply. You can go back all the way to 2017. You can apply for your 18s and your 19s and receive refund money if you pay those property taxes. And those are called certificate of errors. If you're missing any of your exemptions, we can go back 3 years and apply your exemption. So what happens? The homeowner applies online, right? That's the first thing you do because you don't want to come downtown or the Markham office or the Bridgeview office or the Skokie's office. You want to apply online, all right? Our office, what we do, we process the certificate of error right away because we're fast, all right? Now, once we process it, we'll mail you your certificate of error in the mail, or we'll hand it to you if you're in our office. Now, upon that, the time frame, it takes 90 days, all right, to receive that refund. So we process it, we give it the letter to you saying how much money you're gonna receive back. Now it goes to the treasurer's office, all right? The treasurer's office is the one that mails the check. It's gonna take at least 90 days, and sometimes it's much faster than that, all right? So those are called certificate of errors when you have not applied for your exemptions, all right, in the prior years, okay? Please do so, and please apply online. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit here, all right? And I wanna give you a little bit more information. And this is called the Cook County Triennial Reassessment Cycle. We call it Reassessment Appeal Cycle sometimes. And what is it? It means that it's our way that we put fairness into the system. Filing an appeal, learning how to file an appeal, all right? It depends on what township you're in. We're all in the city, many of us, right? I believe we're in the city. So we're being reassessed this year. And that's the light blue section that you see in this diagram. Chicago was last reassessed in 2018, and now we're being reassessed in 2021. So every 3 years, the Cook County Assessor's Office, remember, on a mass appraisal system, we look at your property, we compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. We wouldn't compare an apple to an orange and an orange to a grape. We do it on a mass appraisal system, okay? And so we are valuing your home. If you live in Chicago, you're being reassessed this year. Next year, it's going to be the north suburbs, and then it goes back around again. So right now, as being, we're that tricycle. You know, when you ride a tricycle, we're that front wheel. So we're that light, we're the one in the light blue. So we're in the head. We're being reassessed. Our property is being looked at to see the value of our home, the reassessment value. And if there's going to be a new value, we'll be receiving one of these letters next, what I'm going to show you on my next slide. So hold on a second here. What happened to that? I'll show you that letter in a few minutes. So what factors affects your tax bill? All right, I'm going to say, what factors affects your tax bill? Number one, of your property, that's for sure. So in bold here, I have your state equalizer factor, and also I have the tax rate. Now, these are two variables that our office has no control over. And why am I telling you this? Because these are some numbers that can change your property tax. Of course, the Cook County Assessor, we assess your property, as I stated, on the mass appraisal system for fairness. But when we place the state equalizer on there and the tax rate, things could actually, property tax bill change, of course, go up or down, all right? The state equalizer factor, it comes from the Illinois Department of Revenue, and your tax rate is what takes the county to run your municipality, your township, the school, the mosquito abatement, library, the parks, things of that nature. And sometimes people say, I don't have kids to go to school. Well, we're all in that pot and we all have to pay our fair share. And that's why we're here. Also, the Cook County Assessor, we administer those exemptions. And as you can see, we applied your exemption savings right before the tax bill is due. So I just wanted to show you what actually affects your tax bill. What we're responsible for is the assessment of your property and applying your exemptions and giving you money. That's what the Cook County Assessor's Office is. All right. Value and exemptions, we are saving your money. And to help, of course. Now, as I was saying, I jumped ahead a little bit. I probably changed the present, forgot I did. This is what we call the reassessment notice here. The reassessment notice is my diagram on the left. This is the, okay? And this notice you're going to receive this year if you live in the city of Chicago. Remember, every 3 years you get reassessed. And it has some valuable information on here. Your market value of your home, information about your property type, your construction, your building square foot, your land square foot, your market value. Most importantly, the date that you're eligible to file an appeal. All right. Now, when you file an appeal, of course, you will file online, but we don't encourage you to file because we're going to get it right. All right. I'm not encouraging you to file an appeal on at all. Okay. But if you happen to want to file an appeal, maybe a few of you, then you will file online. And I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why some people do. But you will receive this notice every 3 years. All right. So, and on my right, to my right, there's the tax bill. Why I have the tax bill on the right side and the reassessment on the left side is because anything that is processed in our office as your exemptions, your appeal results, your certified assessed value, it's always going to appear on your second installment bill. Everything is going to appear on your second installment bill. Once the reassessment notice are mailed, your assessed values will reflect on your second installment bill. So look for things on the second installment, which is your yellow bill. As again, as I stated, you will receive your reassessment notice every 3 years. The most thing on here is the deadline date. You have 30 days to file the appeal, but I don't think you're going to need to file an appeal because we're going to get it right the first time. How? Now, for some of you who just really believe that you need to file an appeal, and you may want to, and you may disagree with the accuracy of your market value, what are some of the 3 reasons why we see the common reasons? Is because the lack of uniformity is number 1. That means that you've compared your house to someone else's home, and it's actually the same home, and you believe that the values are not the same. The assessed value, not the tax bill. You're going to compare the assessed values. You would never compare your tax bill because I may be a senior and Angela may not. We have the same home, and my tax bill is way lower because I have all the savings that the Cook County Assessor has to offer, where she just has the homeowner's exemption. So never compare a tax bill with anyone. You compare assessed values and you compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. So that's lack of uniformity. When the assessed values are totally different, but the houses are exactly and almost the same, all right? So what is overvaluation? As it is stated, you believe that your property is overvalued. And that's one of the reasons. Sometimes people believe that their their property is overvalued. As I said, we're getting it right. We're doing things that was never done in the past. At one time, you couldn't even file an appeal online in our office. I've been with the Cook County Assessor's Office for over 22 years. And since Prince Katie has come into office, we're able to do all of these things online, and we're moving fast, and things are happening, and we're processing, and we're getting it right. And if we don't get it right, we want to hear your concern, and we want you to tell us what we can do to help you. All right. So another one of the reasons is the incorrect property description. Okay. If we say that you live in a mansion and you don't, and you live in a one-story home, we can send a person out for a field check, and you can request a field check, and someone will. Or if we say you live in a brick home and you actually live in a frame home, that's incorrect property description error. And that's another reason that you may want to file. All right. So now, what are the things that you know before filing an appeal? Number one, it's free. You don't need an attorney. I know there may be an attorney sitting out here somewhere. I can't see you, but if there are, everything's free. You don't need to pay anyone. All of the information is on our website, okay? And if not, we're just clicks away, phone call, dial us. We're here to help you. And we have short videos on our website to show you how to file an appeal, okay? And all of the information is out there, all right? So number one, it's free. You're gonna need your email address before you start. And also remember, you have 30 days to file your appeal. You can draft your appeal and you can save it. You can modify it, but don't submit until you're totally finished, because once you finish your appeal, that's it, it's done, it's completed, all right? So in addition to that, when you're filing your appeal, you can always add your comparable properties. You can use our Cook Viewer interactive map system, because as I stated, we're transparent. So we're offering the Cook Viewer assistance interactive mapping to help you locate comparables, but you don't need to do that.
Okay, it looks like we lost Teresa for a minute, but I'm sure she'll pop right back on. So in the meantime, we've been going through answering tons of questions. I know that she was a little blippy before, so if y'all can just hang tight. Sure, she'll be back soon. In the meantime, just to remind some folks who came on a little bit later, just about a bungalow announcement. You can sign up for our bungalow garden contest if you're looking to do anything with your gardens. We've got all kinds of different prizes and stuff, and dollar amounts and stuff that are awarded, and all bungalows are eligible this year, so you don't only have to be a brick Chicago bungalow. So check out how to do that on our webpage, which is chicagobungalow.org. And our deadline is July 6th for that. Perfect timing. It looks like we got Teresa back. I got to plug our garden contest again in the meantime, Teresa. So we lost you for about a minute there at the end.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, so I'm just gonna wrap up. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna finish sharing my screen. Is it possible that you can see that now, or?
Yeah, I can see now.
Yeah, all right. So, and I apologize, everyone. As I said, we're working through Zoom and all of these technologies, and things can happen. So I truly apologize for that. But let me just continue before I lose you guys. I don't want to lose you. So this is our assessment calendar. It actually is going to state the dates that you can file your appeal. Like I said, if you would like to file your appeal, it's your during deadlines. It would have your township and the date that your reassessment notice are going to be mailed. And this is found on our website, okay? Buying comparable properties is through Cook Viewer, and that's another feature that's it's generated. We're gonna make more much more better, because we're gonna generate comparable properties within the application, okay? And as I stated, if you have two additional pins on your properties, if you have an additional pin, and some people have an additional pin, they have a lot next to them, they have two pin numbers, make sure you add your pin to your both of your pins to your appeal. Also, if you have attachments here, please attach your pictures, your appraisal, things that you want to know, a narrative, attach them. But attachments here, additional pins where it says additional pins, okay? And lastly, follow us on social media. And here, we on Instagram, Facebook, we're all over Twitter, on social media, and we're here to help. Thank you, Carla.
Okay, thanks. Sorry,
So,
responding to a question.
I may have to ask my coworkers to come in, because it keeps stating instability connection. So yeah, if you are losing, yeah.
Yeah, and there are still some questions in here that a couple more popped up that haven't been answered yet. I also just want to say that Kelvin and Michelle and Scott are amazing. They got through about 40 questions almost while you were talking. So pretty amazing. So if folks also in the audience, if you want to look at the answered questions, click through and there's all of these responses. So your question might be on there or whatever as well. We're probably going to save those too, so we have a record of them. Just so great to see them all like that. Again, we have a hard stop at 7. So if we don't get done with everything by then, I think we will. But otherwise, either way, we're going to have to wrap up at 7. And any additional questions, once again, we will send to Teresa, and she will respond to them, and we'll send them out next week after she has a chance to get through them. So don't worry about that. Meantime, let's see what we missed in here so far. Okay, if a house has the wrong classification, it's a 2-flat and should be a single family, and an appeal was filed, but the classification was not changed, what can I do? Anybody want to take that?
Who's taking it? Okay.
I am not a classification expert, so I'm going to pass on this one.
So in this particular case, it might be that a field check was not done. It could be that there was not proper documentation filed to explain why the classification was wrong. So an important thing when you're doing an appeal for an incorrect classification is 2 things. One, you want to suggest a field check. What that means is we have someone from our office come out to your property and take a look at the exterior. We will not come in the interior of the home. We'll take a look at the exterior and we'll examine to see if it differs from the property characteristics we have on file. We also use a lot of graphic information system technology that allows us to actually look at sort of a, if you think about the way Google Street View and Google images and all that kind of stuff works, it's a souped up version of that. And it actually allows us to be able to look within about 2 to 3 feet what the square footage of a home is, just by essentially kind of drawing lines around the home. It's really quite something. So those are the ways that we do that, but also any documentation you have, perhaps you might have information from your deed. Perhaps you might have information from a plat of survey, or maybe you have, an initial appraisal that was done on your home. Those would all be good pieces of documentation to prove that there was a classification error. But we have to see some proof. So the best way to do that, again, field check or providing us that documentation.
There was a question that Maria had asked about undocumented folks and if they qualify for the exemption. I saw that you answered it earlier, but would you mind just reiterating, because she may not have seen it and is asking again.
Yeah, I think that was one that I took. So there is not a requirement for you to be a documented citizen in order to receive the homeowner's exemption. You only have to have done two things. One, the home has to be your primary residence as of January 1st of the tax year that you're applying for. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And the other is you have to either own or have a lease or contract, which makes you responsible for the real estate taxes for that property. Those are the only two qualifications for a homeowner. We realize a lot of folks who are undocumented have some concerns about working through government programs or submitting information. Our information is not accessible by any of the government offices that track whether someone is documented or not. We do not give them access to that. You might also consider that there are ID forms like City Key that's available through the City of Chicago. That might be something that you could provide to us to help us identify where your residence is. One thing you do need to do is submit some information that proves that you do in fact live at the home. But I understand that there's some concern and fear, particularly over the last few years with that. But that is not a requirement for our program, and we do not allow other government offices to access that information.
Great, thank you, Scott. Okay, if I purchased my property on 2/22/2019, can I apply for the homeowner exemption for 2/22/2020? And yes, she lives at the property. Thanks, Teresa.
Yes, so they can apply for the homeowner's exemption if they purchased their home in 2019. As Scott said, as long as they're on the deed or have a lease or equitable interest in the property, they can apply for the homeowner's exemption for 2020. That's correct. And they can also apply online and provide all of their documentations as a certificate of error for their homeowner's exemption. And make sure that they include their driver's license or many of the qualifications that we have all of them online, what they can provide to receive the homeowner's exemptions on our website, and a short video on how to apply.
Okay, is it possible to see the paperwork that a previous owner submitted for an appeal? This will be our first time handling this, and it would be useful to see previous appeals.
So I don't, Scott, I don't believe they can.
No, you wouldn't be able to look up an appeal that you did not file. You wouldn't be able to look that up. Now, what you could do is this would be a little bit of a process, is you could file a Freedom of Information Act request for the previous appeals filed on that PIN. But you yourself would not be able to go into our appeal system and look up the appeals that were filed by someone else.
Right.
Okay, I have increased things like the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, or square footage on my home, and this is not reflected on my reassessment. Will submitting an appeal increase my property taxes?
I can jump in here. I'll say, not necessarily. If you've increased the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, obviously you submit a permit. Your property taxes is relative to your neighbor's property taxes, what they've done with their property, what the local market is, what the tax rate is. So there are a number of factors that are involved. So even for example, as you look at those two documents that Teresa shared, your tax bill and your assessment notice, just because your assessment went up doesn't necessarily mean your tax bill goes up, because again, it's relative to your neighbors and people in your neighborhood and what local properties in the market look like. So I would say, it would seem, natural, or someone obviously might be fearful that that might be the case, but, certainly not necessarily. Anyone else?
Great job.
Thanks, Cohen. Okay, I have in my property description a detached garage that does not exist. I'd like to file an appeal for this error. Will I also qualify for a refund if this helps to lower the taxes that I pay?
No, so they will not receive a refund because we have them down as a detached or garage. There would not be a refund for that. What we can do is definitely change the characteristics of their home to read exactly what the type of garage that they have, but there would not be a refund for this type of modification of a home.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, somebody wondering why they pay property taxes for Hyde Park, sorry, keeps jumping around, for Hyde Park Township when they live in South Shore. Saying other bungalow owners have repeatedly questioned this and they're wondering why that is going on with the community.
I mean, I think I can take this one. This is something that most people in Chicago don't know. And in fact, unless you scrutinize your tax bill or you're a big fan of maps, you might not know that Chicago is divided up into townships. There are 8 townships in the city of Chicago. We are currently reassessing Rogers Park Township, for example. Now, Rogers Park Township is pretty much Rogers Park, the neighborhood. But Hyde Park Township incorporates a whole bunch of Chicago neighborhoods that are not Hyde Park, including South Shore. So I think of the Hyde Park Township or the other townships as just a way to divide up the city of Chicago for taxing purposes. It doesn't necessarily mean that you, a person in South Shore, are paying for the neighborhood of Hyde Park. And in fact, living in Chicago, you are sharing the tax burden for the entire city with everyone in the city. So it actually, you are shouldering the tax burden along with everyone in Jefferson Township or West or North or South Township. So with the city of Chicago, we're kind of all on this together when it comes to the tax burden that we pay.
Okay, if a neighbor crossed the boundary fence line, does it reduce my property taxes?
So I think that's probably a clerk's a legal description question from the Cook County Clerk's office. When we're talking about boundaries and legal, that's a legal description. That's a Cook County Clerk's hearing, Yarbrough's office. They need to find out what are their boundaries, their legal description first. So I don't believe that's not our office. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're sort of paying the taxes based on the descriptions that we have for your property.
Yeah.
So if the property description includes, part of, for your neighbor rather, if it includes the part of the property that crosses over the boundary fence line, they're paying for their portion of taxes on that little sliver of property that you have. But you'd need to know a little bit more about what the property descriptions are for your neighbor versus you.
Thank you. Let's have somebody who's unhappy that they have to pay for 10 months of tax without getting the exemption because they purchased a house in February and the previous owner didn't have an exemption. Yeah.
That's painful. That could be very painful. And Carla, that's why we're out here. We're on social media. We're out outreaches. We're at events. We're at different, like we're going to be out Saturday at one of the Juneteenth events. We're trying to spread the word to file for your exemptions. Spread the word. Your homeowners, your senior exemption, your senior freeze, because if you were to purchase a home for me and I had the exemption, you would inherit it. But if I didn't file for the exemption, it would take you another year to file unless you receive the exemption, unless you're a senior. So it's very important that we spread the information to file for your exemption. And I can see that it is very painful, you know, to some people.
Yeah. Thanks, Teresa. And sometimes it's also nice to just be heard, you know, like frustration.
And speaking of pain, Teresa and I just yesterday, we did an outreach event live, and we met a man who went to his local alderman. He was a senior, didn't know he qualified for the senior exemption for like 10 years. He had missed the exemption for that long, and it was just, it broke all of our hearts. And I talked about it with the room. I didn't use his name, but I mean, it's just a cautionary tale. And back to what Teresa was saying, you know, it's so valuable that we do outreach events like this, and you know, all the hundreds of people that are part of the Bungalow Association. Such a tremendous partnership, because you guys can spread the word. And I'm always, you know, looking for new organizations to talk to. I was looking for new methods of outreach, Black clubs, community groups. So, you know, any pastors that are out there, Black club presidents, you know, people that, you know people, you know homeowners throughout the city, you know, please reach out to us, because we would love to just continue to look for opportunities to spread this gospel of home ownership and how to, you know, take advantage of all the resources in our office.
Yeah, we have a good, I mean, bungalow owners are notorious too for spreading the word all the way down their block. So, you know,
I love it.
Very,
Awesome.
very common. So we love that you guys were able to do this. We only have like 2 minutes left.
If I could just really quick, I wanted to address something that did come up here on the chat, and it's something that is a little bit unique to Chicago this year. So we are implementing a brand new state-of-the-art property tax system. We are on currently an old mainframe computer. It is probably 30 years old, and it has seen better days. And we are in the midst of a huge $30 million project on behalf of the county to replace that old mainframe system with a new integrated property tax system. Now, as anybody who's ever moved from one system to another can tell you, you have a lot of stops and starts. You have a lot of, you know, lack of certainty as to when things are going to happen. So if you look at the assessment calendar right now, you'll see a lot of blank spaces as to when certain townships open for appeals in Chicago. Obviously, we'd love to be able to give you more of a range, but what we found is that it's been difficult to predict this early in the assessment system. We have just started the reassessment process of Chicago. However, in the next, I would say a few weeks, we should be able to be more certain about when the assessment and appeals will open for certain townships. So while it is blank right now, I would say go ahead and check that appeals calendar on our website, and you'll probably see some dates filled in that'll be more far into the future, and we'll be able to give you a better sense of when you can expect your assessment notice and when your township opens for appeals. But right now, as we're just getting this new system up and running, we're still a little unsure as to exactly when certain townships will be open for appeals. But we expect in the next couple of weeks to know a little more.
Great, that's really helpful. Thank you, Scott. We're at 7 o'clock. I promised everybody that we would close at 7. Just so you guys know, you're getting all kinds of people saying thank you, thank you, thank you. This question answer thing was amazing. Like, if that was your idea, Teresa, it's brilliant. Like, I don't know whose it was, but like, we got through about 60 questions, which is unheard of. And just so, again, everybody, I know some people are kind of in and out of this. Anything that wasn't answered tonight, we're gonna send over to the Cook County Assessor Office, and they're gonna go ahead and answer those for us. Teresa's gonna handle that, and we'll get those back to you next week at some point. So thank you all, Calvin, Michelle, Scott, and of course, once again, Teresa, so much for this tonight. There was so much information. We have it all recorded, so everybody can go and watch this again if you missed anything, or you want to check out, you know, some of these responses again. Yeah, and oh, this was our final actual webinar of the season too. So we'll be back. The Bungalow Association is going to ramp up again in September, probably the second half of September. So stay tuned. We'll have new lists. You know, we'll post them once we have things booked up again. But thank you all for a great season, and thank you again, Cook County Assessor's Office. You guys were amazing.
We thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate you. Good
everyone.
night.